Hey guys, in this video we are going to continue our video series of the beautiful island of Madeira.
We are going to show you a paid tour that we took through 8 villages on this beautiful Madeira island.
Hey guys, welcome back. We are picking up where we left off on this 2 of a 4 video series around Madeira Island.
In this video, we are going to show you the 8 village guided tour that we took on the west side of Madeira Island.
And this was our first real excursion outside of the city.
As we were enjoying our room in Câmara de Lobos, we both were looking for tours that began in Câmara de Lobos. And we found this 8 village guided tour, and we decided
Let's
that
give
was
it a
perfect.
shot, right?
Actually, yes.
Yeah, we didn't really want a public transit to go find a public tour that we had to get back down to Funchal, so why not look for a tour that would pick us up? And Christy did a great job. That's right, pick us up and drop us off. So we managed to do that. It was an 8 village tour around the west end of the island, and this was our first exposure to Madeira other than Funchal. And
it was perfect for scouting for when we actually rented a car so that we could go back and enjoy a little bit longer some of the places that we actually got to visit on this tour.
Yeah, we didn't necessarily have to do this, but we, just like Christy just said, we knew we were going to rent a car, we knew we were going to spend days out and about, but we decided, no, let's just hop in a van and make this thing happen, right? And let them show us, we'll take good directions, we'll figure out and get the lay of the land, and just enjoy the knowledge from the tour guide. So the tour started off picking us up.
And the first stop on the tour was actually Câmara de Lobos. And since we had already explored this beautiful village in the first few days that we had been there, we just hung around and waited for everyone else to enjoy their time in that village.
Yeah, introduce ourselves to the tour guide, which we lost all the footage. God, I love the GoPro. But anyway, lost all the footage from almost all of that. But we are finally in the van, and we were the last to the van, and everyone had kind of chosen seats, and we got lucky.
And we sat in the front.
We had the front 2 seats the whole time.
Which was perfect.
We got some good video footage there.
Did.
So being last on gave us the best seats in the house. So we got lucky that day. Unlike the VIP Dolphin Tour, which we were on pretty early and we still didn't get that great a seat. But, you know, life's good. Off to our first stop, which was?
Cabo Geral.
589 meters. So it's about, I'll do the calculations later.
It was really, really high up.
Really high up. Now this is one of the real tourist attractions. I think this probably, if you know of the island, is probably one of the better known tourist attractions. We were told that it is the second glass outlook over a cliff ever built. The first was in the Grand Canyon in the United States. And it is, I believe, the second highest cliff over the ocean in all of Europe.
It was pretty scary.
Actually, it was downright really scary, wasn't it? So I'm walking to, it's a weird thing to look down through the glass and see how far it is down. The cameras never do the depth justice. It is a long way down.
I'm actually having anxiety right now just thinking about it.
Makes your hands sweat. I was taking steps like little bitty baby steps because it's so high that it's an amazing thing to experience, but it's a bit nerve-wracking. So we're back in the van
and off to the next spot, which was I believe it was the Ribeira Brava, right?
Yes. So now we lost a lot of altitude coming down. We're back down to sea level. We saw a little carnival there.
It had Hotel Transylvania Fun House, and it was really cute. Nice little cafe.
We sat down.
Souvenir shop. Yeah, we sat down and had some pastel and cafe.
And waited for the tour group to get rounded back up. Nice little village against the ocean. It becomes almost pretty common there how many villages are along the island, around the outskirts of the island. But beautiful short visit, and I think there was also a church there that we walked by the church.
Yes.
But anyway, cool little stop, and we were back in
the van.
Back in the van.
And this next stop was, I think, Richard's favorite spot. We definitely had to go back. We just happened to quickly drive by.
All right, so here we are, seeming at the top of the entire island, and there is a Elvis and Ronaldo sanctuary. So I came all the way from the United States being an Elvis fan, so I'm excited to see that in Madeira there's a Elvis sanctuary. So here's a little bit of footage. Even if you're not an Elvis fan, just know that he spanned the world. So I'm not exactly sure how I noticed this, whether I was on Google Maps or whatever, but I had already marked on my map that there was a memorial
that's
to Elvis Presley. Maybe I was searching for the words. To Elvis Presley, and then there was a lot of Ronaldo, and then there were other things. But you know, I'm an Elvis fan, so seeing Elvis on Madeira Island, and someone had built it, and it was really cool to me. We drove past it on this tour, so we didn't get a chance to actually stop, but we came back. So as we drove past the Elvis Memorial, we're climbing. We're way back to altitude, and it's a nice little drive too.
Camino Real da Encomiada.
Very nicely, much better done. Look, if we mispronounce any of these things,
sorry.
We're sorry. It is what it is, right? But the altitude was way up, and there was a tour to a waterfall that they pulled us over. They told us to get out, but you're not walking to the waterfall. It takes way too long. You could hear the waterfall. Christy fell in love with a calf. I think there were 2 or 3 calves lying there, and it was a beautiful sight. It was a fantastic stop, and it's just a lot to take in, but the altitude was beautiful.
It was gorgeous.
Okay, back in the van we were again, and we're traveling and starting to arrive at Porto Moniz. Yeah, so again, we're at an extreme altitude, and we're approaching the edge of the island, and we start dropping all the way down to sea level, and it is a drop. It's a significant drop, and curvy roads, and just looking down, but Porto Moniz, phenomenal. Was probably, of the day tour that we paid for, at least in my opinion, was probably the single best thing there. Now, as we arrived to Porto Moniz, I will have to say, at least from my perspective, this is one of the top 10, without a doubt, things that we saw. And it probably is about top 4 or 5 for me. It was phenomenal. The city is obviously at sea level, and there are natural lava pools that they've built a little bit unnatural around it, but
it was still an amazing sight to see. And on that day, the waves were pretty high and powerful, that they came out from the ocean and into the pool, but with such immense power. It was awesome. It was an awesome sight. Hey everyone, we are at Porto Moniz on Madeira Island,
which is at the very northwest peak, basically. And this wave pool, natural wave pool, is one of the most beautiful things I guess I've ever seen. We will be back in a few days with the bathing suits, and we will be in there. I've never actually been in a volcanic pool.
I haven't either.
So I'm super looking forward to that. But you just look at the footage that we're posting here, and this is remarkable. This is absolutely remarkable.
It's pretty awesome.
We'll give you a little bit of heads up to be aware of this. Now, we came back to Porto Moniz when we rented our car, and the second time we showed up, the ocean was calm, and the tides were not high, and it simply wasn't as fascinating. It became much more average to just look at kind of standing water. You have to kind of schedule yourself to be there at high tide, and as Christy said, our little snippet of wearing the ponchos out was in Porto Moniz. Hi, we're reporting live from a storm. Is it going to blow us away?
Maybe.
I think the bad weather is coming.
I think it's arrived.
The storm was just off of the coast when we arrived. It was still sunny, and you could see these waves crashing, but not long after that the storm came in. But it was all of those circumstances and that crystal blue water and those huge waves crashing into the pools.
Right.
It was phenomenal. It was literally phenomenal.
It was quite the sight.
It was beautiful.
We loved it. It was a good time.
Yeah, so you definitely, and I think maybe at the end of this we'll put together a top 10 list, but this, at least for me, way up there. Get in a car or pay for a tour and get yourself up there and try to schedule yourself so you're there at high tide and with some good waves. So, as a lot of the footage you probably already figured out, we had lunch while we were at Porto Moniz, and finally the group was back in the van, and we were next to last getting back to the van, but not last.
Not last.
We got in the van about 2 minutes late, and we're off, and the first thing we see
is the Miraduro, hang on, let me read it. Miraduro da Rabeira da Janela,
which was just a beautiful rock formation off to the side that you could see that had the big kind of erosion window in the middle of it. Fantastic sight. We came back. We got some great footage on that.
So on our way to Seychelles, we actually stopped at another waterfall. Not sure what the name of this is. We think it is the Cascata Agua de Alto. Look at that waterfall.
That's awesome, isn't it? Yeah, so the bus pulled over. We had to walk back up a little bit, but just as we've showed you already how many waterfalls we saw, of course this was our first day out, and we're seeing these waterfalls, big waterfalls right by the road. So it was fascinating for us. We got some good footage here. We got some good selfies. We posted them, and it was fantastic. And we hopped back in the van, and we're again on the way to Seychelles.
Yes.
Did I say that right?
Yep.
And we were on our way to Seychelles, and guess what else we saw?
Another waterfall.
Who would have guessed? Another waterfall. Are you kidding me?
They're all so beautiful and grand, though. We never got tired of stopping to take a look and take selfies at these waterfalls.
Now this one was straight off the cliff into the ocean instead of by the road, and we were able to stop, walk to the lookout, and get some photos and again post them, and it was just a beautiful visit, wasn't it?
It really was.
It was really cool. The water, again, in the mindset that this was our first day out on the island. These were the first waterfalls we had really seen, and they're so large and so grand that they were fantastic. It was just a fantastic tour, honestly. A lot because it was our first, right? So anyway, we're back in the van and we're beginning our trip back home, right?
Yes, and it is the end of the tour, and our last stop was at São Vicente. And on that trip, I think we actually stopped and we visited a church in that village.
Yeah, we don't really show you the number of churches there are in all of Portugal, but
so
they're literally in every village, and there's probably 2 in every village, if not 3, maybe 1 hidden in there as well. But this was a really nice one, and we're back in the van, and we're wrapping up a long day, right?
Yeah, and we're headed on our way back to Câmara de Lobos.
Now, how long did this day take us?
It was a legitimate 8 hours.
Legitimate 8 hours. So we saw a ton. By the time we were done, we were tired.
We were exhausted.
But of course, we got back for the evening, and we couldn't stop talking about it. I mean, it's just fantastic. We knew then that we kind of had a path to begin exploring when we rented a car.
Yes.
And we enjoyed it. It was a fantastic trip for us. Something, again, that you may want to consider doing yourself if you don't want to rent a car. But as we said in the last video, we truly believe experiencing the island is done best on your own time, on your own path, with as many detours as you want in a rental car. But if you don't feel comfortable driving, this was good.
Absolutely. These guided tours are an absolute recommendation.
Yep. So that's the end of this video. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope that you really love some of the footage, because I don't know if the camera ever does justice to the natural wonders that you see, but they were phenomenal with the eyes.
Absolutely.
And the next 2 videos, believe it or not, get even more grand fantastic. So we hope you enjoyed it. We hope you tune in.
Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.
Ciao.
Ciao.